Shalom Akim. Welcome to GMS Ghettos on the Streets. Want to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakudah, whom I worship. Double honors to my elder apostles, the great millstone who told me his word is sincerity and truth. I'm Elder Sakaran from the GMS New York camp, and this is the continuation of the video I did earlier this morning, dealing with Putin signing a law to suspend the INF treaty with the U.S. When this came out, it was breaking news, and this is important because this is in relation to prophecy, because according to prophecy, Magog, which is Russia, is gonna bomb the hell out of what is now known as the land of Israel, and or out of the land of Israel, and they're also going to shoot missiles at America, along with other nations, even with the EU nations and many other nations. This is what is known as in the Bible as Armageddon, Jehoshaphat, the Valley of Decision. So pretty much any article or any news that you hear concerning these things, we are to jump on it because it's in the Bible. It's prophecy. Okay, these things must happen, because people may say, oh, why these guys are always harping on war and on Russia and what's going on with the nuclear war and all this. Because according to the Bible, that's what has to happen in order for our kingdom to come, the kingdom of Israel, of Yashar Allah. Okay, under the one who you ignorantly call Jesus Christ. His name is Yahweh Shai, and he's a black power, a black man, or you'll classify him as a black man, so-called black man. All right, he's coming to claim his kingdom, and we're going to be joint heirs with him. That's in the book of Romans, the 8th chapter. Okay, so that's why we harp on it so much. But anyway, now you may ask, what the hell is an INF? So let's get that before I read this article here. So this is INF. Wikipedia came up. You could, if you don't trust Wikipedia, you could check other sources for the definition. I typed it in, and this is what came up. And INF means Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty. It says the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty, INF Treaty, formerly treaty between the United States of America and the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics on the elimination of their intermediate range and shorter range missiles. It says was an arms control treaty between the United States and the Soviet Union and its successor state, the Russian Federation. U.S. President Ronald Reagan and Soviet General Secretary Mikhail Gorbachev signed the treaty on the 8th of December of 1987. The United States Senate approved the treaty on the 27th of May 1988, and Reagan and Gorbachev ratified it on the 1st of June 1988. And this is the picture they show. It says Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty between the United States of America and the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics on the elimination of their intermediate range and shorter range missiles. Now, that's when they were socialists, or socialist, communist. To me, it's the same shit. And this is important because when Putin did this today, it's kind of a first step to, when you go to the book of Ezekiel, which I'm going to go after I read the article. When you go to the book of Ezekiel, the 38th chapter, and the 38th chapter, but really the 39th chapter, it speaks about how the Lord was going to put hooks into Magog's jaw and turn them back. Meaning, Russia, the Russians, they've been trying to, as far as their government goes, they've been trying to cooperate with the other nations of the world, their enemies, trying to be political, trying to be democratic. They were trying, but they see that it's not working, and they're saying that they can't trust the United States, man. They can't trust the United States of devils, although they're devils and their damn selves, but these devils over here in the United States, in the States, are proud, are way more prouder than them, and so this is like a first step to me, how I see it in the spirit of Russia, of the hooks being put into Russia's jaw and them being turned back to their old ways, their old Soviet socialist ways. So that's why we got to keep our that's why I always watch RT, because after all, it stands for Russia Today. So if you want to know what's happening with Russia today, well then watch, RT. See, it's just that simple. So this is the signing of that treaty in 1987. It has a chart here. It breaks it down for you. It says type nuclear disarmament. Signed the 8th of December 1987 at 1:45 p.m. Location at the White House, Washington, D.C. It was effective the 1st of condition ratification by the Soviet Union and the United States. Expiration the 1st of February 2019. So this expired, and I don't know if I will have to look into it. I don't know if they renewed it, and then Putin suspended it, or did he just go to suspend it, and just to have it on legal papers? I gotta look into that. But technically, it expired on the 1st of February of this year, and he did not renew it, or if he renewed it, he has signed to law to suspend it, man. So this is serious. Because we always say that Russia is going to be turned back to their old ways, their old Soviet socialist ways, man. So this is a good thing. This is a milestone, in my eyes, in prophecy. What's going on here, man? And well, we already know, according to prophecy, is gonna happen. We just gotta keep our eyes open and peeled, baby. It says signatory Soviet Union, Mikhail Gorbachev, United States, Ronald Reagan, and Ronald Reagan he's gone. I believe Mikhail Gorbachev, he's dead, and I believe Mikhail Gorbachev died too. I'm not sure. But it was the so-called President Ronald Reagan who said, what if the world were to be attacked by I guess aliens or outside being, outside force? Wouldn't all nations come together, in harmony to fight against those beings, so to speak?
Russia, which would go forward again, as he said, by the sword. Yet need it be so? Cannot swords be turned to plowshares? Can we and all nations not live in peace? In our obsession with antagonisms of the moment, we often forget how much unites all the members of humanity. Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. And yet, I ask you, is not an alien force already among us?
It says the INF treaty banned all of the two nations land-based ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and missile launchers with ranges of 500 to 1,000 kilometers, 310 to 620 miles, short, medium range, and 1,000 to 5,500 kilometers, which is 620 to 3,420 miles, intermediate range. The treaty did not apply to air or sea-launched missiles. By May 1991, the nations had eliminated 2,692 missiles, followed by 10 years of on-site verification inspections. And but they don't know what the hell is going on underground, though. You know what I'm saying? So it says U.S. President Donald Trump announced on the 20th of October 2018 that he was withdrawing the U.S. from the treaty, accusing Russia of non-compliance. The U.S. formally suspended the treaty on the 1st of February 2019. And Russia did so on the following day in response to the U.S. And Russia did so on the following day in response to the U.S. withdrawal. So I don't know what this is. Kind of crazy, because right here it's saying that Russia on the following day, which is February the 2nd, that they did the same in response to the U.S. withdrawal, suspended. But I guess Putin did it, how would you say, formally, and to put it on paper, you know what I'm saying? He signed the law, So that means that he's not going to turn back from it. In essence, it's the putting the hook into Russia's jaws and turning them away from this treaty, man, that was made, because they know that Esau over here in the United States, they're known for breaking their treaties, man, and their deals and going back on their word. They know that Esau over here is the pure devil, although they're the devil too. So let's go back to the article. So it says Putin signs law suspending INF treaty with the U.S. That was done earlier today. Russian President Vladimir Putin has signed a law suspending the Cold War era INF treaty. Putin announced in February that he would halt participation in the treaty after Washington's abrupt decision to pull out of the agreement. The Trump administration announced last October that the U.S. would pull out of the treaty, which has been a cornerstone of European security since its signing in 1987. Moscow later promised a mirror response to the decision and said it would suspend its own participation. The treaty eliminated nuclear and conventional ground launched. The treaty eliminated nuclear and conventional ground launched ballistic and cruise missiles with ranges of 500 to 5,500 kilometers. Both sides have repeatedly accused each other of violating its terms. It reads, abandoning the deal, Trump said the U.S. would terminate the agreement and then develop the weapons. Putin later said Russia would be forced to do the same thing. So it sounds like war to me, bro. Right? It says Trump floated the idea of signing a new nuclear agreement with Russia after an hour-long phone call with Putin in May. The White House said that at the time that a new deal could either be a new multilateral accord between the U.S., Russia, and China, or the extension of the current U.S.-Russia strategic nuclear accord. Washington and Moscow are working to organize a meeting between Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov and U.S. Undersecretary of State Andrea Thompson to discuss issues of strategic security, according to reports from Russian media. Arms control was a top concern when Trump and Putin met last week at the G20 summit in Japan, where the two leaders promised to continue dialogue on strategic stability. So this is the point. This is the point I wanted to bring out, really. And y'all could go ahead and read Ezekiel, the whole chapter, the 39th verse. Ezekiel, the 38th chapter, and you could read Ezekiel, the 39th chapter, because those are good chapters in prophecy to go into. Read them completely. You could, in other words, from Ezekiel 38 to 39, they run consecutively. How would you say, consecutively to each other, so to speak? Like an ongoing, prophecy, so to speak. So, I'll read Ezekiel 38, verse 1. And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. Gog is Russia. Meshech and Tubal, that's Turkey. And they sell weapons to Turkey, and prophesy against him, and say, Thus saith the Lord power, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws. So this thing here with the whole treaty situation, the INF situation, it seems to me that the Lord is working to put the hook into Russia's jaws to turn them back to how they used to be. So, it says, And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them. All these nations are alive today. I did a show dealing with the Persians, right, and who they were. That they're the Elamites. Okay, they ruled jointly with the Medes. It was called the Medo-Persian Empire. Ethiopia, Libya, these nations are alive today, right? Ethiopia would be Cush, Libya will be Put, and these are sons of Ham. And it says, all of them with shield and helmet, Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togomar of the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with thee. Be thou prepared for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. Telling Russia to be a guard unto these nations. So hopefully I can continue this and this lesson, and you was edified, and maybe y'all could do some like shows, spin-off shows off this one. You know what I'm saying? But this is what it is. This is prophecy, and like I said, and I'm gonna keep on saying it. Stick to prophecy. It builds up your faith. All right. Prophecy monitors your faith, pretty much, man. It builds it up. You know, when you're weak, if you're weak in faith, first of all, pray to the Most High that He give you that faith, but also, you know, build up that faith. You know, through prophecy and watching the news and stuff. You know, not paying attention to dumb shit. You know, and your own emotions and how you feel. First of all, this is not about you. Remember that this is all about Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, especially because He was the only one that was worthy. You could read about that in the book of Revelation, the 5th chapter. So with that, this is Elder Sakuran, GMS Gallons on the Streets, signing off. Shalom. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you could be alerted, all right, of my videos that I put up. And with that, I want to say shalom to the elect, and keep pushing on. Shalom.